Alright, so here's my first Wi-Fi battle in a long time that I'm recording to YouTube, so here we go. It's against a guy named Trainer from Smogon. Alright, so he sends out a Swampert, I send out my Metagross, and this is kind of a bad matchup for me, so I decided to switch out and decided to put some damage on, weaken it up, possibly for a Draco Meteor later. Now, so he gets the rocks up, and I just decide I'm gonna U-turn, and he sends out his Dragonite, and that's when I wish I had the rocks up. So, that does a decent amount. And I decided I'm going to go back to Metagross in case he decides to do anything. I have an Aqua Berry, so I can take a Fire Blast if he has it. And he does, but it misses, so I get the rocks up free. And I decided I'm going to go for the KO and with a Meteor Mash. And he does Earthquake, and I'm fairly certain I can live through that, even if he is Life Orb. And my prediction is correct. I do live through it. And I Meteor Mash for the KO here. Now he sends out a Scissor, and I'm predicting a U-turn, so I'm just going to sacrifice Metagross here and see what he switches in. Because the nice thing about U-turn is if you KO on it, you can see what they bring in, and you can react accordingly. And I see he brings out his Latias, so I'm going to bring out my own Choice Band Scissor. And I also see that it's leftovers, so I doubt that it's running Hidden Power Fire. And he switches out, and I'm going to get a U-turn in on his Swampert, which is what my original plan was, but he avoided it. And now that's weakened, for sure, I can take it out with a Draco Meteor, even though there's Stealth Rock up. I'd rather not expose Salamence to it, but wiping out Swampert this early in the match is worth it. So, worthless Intimidate here, because it's just going to die. And this should leave a hole where Swampert used to be. And now I expect him to bring in his Scissor, or, try to Bullet Punch, but instead he brings in his Latias. And I realize that Salamence could be useful later, so I bring in my Scissor, and I'm expecting a Draco Meteor here, or a Dragon Pulse, but yeah, so Draco Meteors. And that's gonna do a fair amount, but not enough to KO. And really, I was expecting him to switch out here, but instead he goes for another Draco Meteor, which brings me down to pretty low health, but enough to get off a U-turn, which should KO Latias. So now I'm in the position where I get to switch in after a U-turn, and now he gets to react. So I get my Starmie, and I figured I'm going to get rid of the Stealth Rock, that way Salamence can wreak some more havoc, but then he sends out Gengar. And I really don't want to waste Starmie this early, so I switch to Scissor, just to kind of scout, see what he's doing. And use a Shadow Ball, but that doesn't really tell me anything at all. Now, a lot of Gengars run HP Fire, so that means that my Latias is Timid Max Speed, so it's going to outspeed, most likely. And it does, so that leads me to think that Gengar did have Hidden Power Fire. And it uses Shadow Ball, and to be honest, I did not expect Latias to die to this, but it did, especially since I didn't see any Life Orb. But anyways, I go back to Starmie, and I know I can outspeed and kill it. But then I see Blissey, and I freak out, because right now, I don't really have a really good answer to Blissey. I got Salamence, Lucario, and Starmie can't do anything. And if Blissey is running Ice Beam or Thunder Wave, it can seriously cripple Salamence. So I decided to get rid of the rocks and Blissey Thunder Waves, and this is where I have to play a mind game. If I switch, Thunder Wave is going to cripple one of my sweepers and make them utterly useless. So I decided I'm going to maybe lower it a little bit, that way Salamence can possibly take it out with Outrage. And in the process, I end up playing a mind game where he tries to Thunder Wave again, trying to hit my switch in. And it does not work. So, and then on the next turn, I decide, alright, I'm going to take my gamble and get Salamence in now. And he does not Thunder Wave, and luckily he does not have Ice Beam. So, now that Salamence is in relatively safely, I can Outrage and take a huge chunk of Blissey's health. And I figure Salamence is about as good as dead with his Scissor waiting in the wings, so he's might as well put a hole in Blissey now. And that does a rather nice amount of damage, and he Thunder Waves me, predictable, but so now I'm in kind of a tough place. I'm expecting him to Soft Boiled, and he does. And I know from past experience that Salamence, as long as it doesn't get paralyzed, can wipe out Blissey from that health. So yeah, so Outrage just continues, and that should wipe it out. And really, after Blissey went down, that was pretty much game, because that was the only thing that was walling my Starmie from just finishing off his team, even though my Starmie's not an offensive variant. So Scissor comes in, and I'm expecting Bullet Punchers similar, and that wipes me out. But instead he U-turns and gets his Gengar in. Yeah, so basically at this point it's good game, but so I bring in Starmie. I know he's gonna outspeed. I'll just surf for the KO, and then he'll bring his Scissor in, and I'll surf to weaken it some, and yeah, that should bring it down into a range that Lucario can close combat it, and that would be good game. So thanks MN Trainer for being good. For being a good sport and allowing me to record on YouTube unlike everyone else. Yeah, so thanks for watching.